And I also read a book by John K. Lynch called Being the Best You Can Be in MLM. And in that book, John K. Lynch said, if you want to make $1 million, forget about the $1 million and just go out and make 1 million friends. Well, I was a housewife. I could never envision myself making $1 million, but gee whiz, I could make 1 million friends, especially when I had something wonderful that could bless their lives that I could talk with them about, right? So how do you make friends? You start asking them about the most interesting subject in the world, which is themselves, right? To everybody is more interested in themselves than they are in anything else. They're not interested in you, in your product, in your company. They're interested in themselves, right? So you start asking people questions. You know, what part of town do you live in? Do you like it there? What do you do for a living? Do you have children? Whatever. At some point, most people are going to say something that's going to say, you know what, I have something that might be able to help you with that, right? Or at the end of the conversation, if nothing came up, you can say, you know what, I really enjoyed chatting with you. And I just want to tell you that I am in a company that has developed the world's first and only redox signaling molecules, which is the biggest breakthrough in health since penicillin or DNA. Does that hold any interest for you in any way, shape, or form? I say that a lot. You know, and then people are going to say, well, maybe, you know, what is it, right? And I'm like, you know what? I can't tell you what it is in just a few minutes. It wouldn't be fair to you. So what we need to do is we need to get together, you know, we can meet at a coffee shop, whatever. And I'll go through a little presentation. I'm actually going to give you some of these redox molecules, and I'm going to help you experience what they can do for you. So when can we set up a time? When can we meet, right? That's why it's so great to meet in person. Like, the long cut is the shortcut. Everybody's looking for the shortcut, for the magic answer. Oh, give someone a link, right? No, you give them a product experience. Your goal is to make 1 million friends, right? Does this take time? Yes, it takes time. But you know what? That's our job, is to educate people, to make friends, to gain their trust, so that they're going to say, gee whiz, I trust this person enough that I'm going to get some of my friends together and ask her to do this for them, give them a product experience, teach them about redox molecules, right? Because now you're their friend. You didn't just send them a link that they never opened and then they Googled ASEA and they found ASEA is just expensive salt water and they say, no, thank you, right? And here's the truth. I don't do the 3-foot rule anymore. But the other truth is I absolutely did build my business on the 3-foot rule. The reason I don't do it anymore is because I'm too busy to talk to every person that I come in 3 feet of. But what I do a lot of times now is I prospect people, and my daughter's boyfriend is an ASEA, and I'll give the contact information to him just because I just can't keep up with it at this point. So I mean, I guess I've been accused. I guess you could use the word accused. I've been accused of being too product oriented. But you know what? I've built my life on being dedicated really to bringing health to other people. I learned that the best and most effective health products typically come to the world through word of mouth marketing. Well, I would go to these big events and there would be these super duper diamonds on stage who would say, you can't build a business leading with the product. You have to lead with the business if you want to build a big business. Because if you talk about product, you're going to attract product users. And if you talk about business, you're going to attract business builders. And I used to go to those meetings and I would cry and I would come home and I would talk to my sponsor, and my sponsor turned out to be the #1 income earner in the world. And so I became personally sponsored by the #1 income earner in that company. And his name was Dave. And I would go to these events and I would cry. And I would go to Dave and I would say, Dave, I can't do this business. And he's like, why not? You're doing it. You're doing really good. And I was like, because I can't lead with the business. I have to lead with my heart. I have to lead with the products. And Dave, even though he was a business person, he was very wise, and he was the best sponsor that I ever could have had, because he just looked at me and he said, you just keep doing what you're doing. He said, this company needs you. You just keep doing what you're doing. And that would calm me down, and I would keep doing what I was doing. And I always led with the products, but I would always bring in the business. I would tell about the company, and I would talk about, the whole idea of being able to create an income that kept on going even when you weren't working, once you had built an organization. I had been briefly in a chocolate company. It was a healthy chocolate company. How crazy is that? And I had called Denny, not really to prospect her. Well, kind of yes and kind of no. So I wasn't really allowed to call her, but I had called her, and I just called her up and I said, hey, Denny, do you like chocolate? And she said, of course I like chocolate. And I'm like, well, I got to tell you about this healthy chocolate company that I'm in. And maybe you want to buy some chocolate from me. So she did. She bought some chocolate. A few months later, she called me about another network marketing company. Denny and I joined that company for a few months together. But that was a company that I knew I couldn't be in. And so when I found ASEA, I called Denny. I'm like, Denny, I found it. And I invited Denny onto one of Alan's Tuesday night conference calls. And I didn't send her a link. I said, I'm going to meet you on this conference call, which, by the way, for a first look to somebody, don't send them a link. Most people don't take time to look at it. If they do look at it, they Google ASEA and they find the link that ASEA is just expensive salt water. You know what? Invite somebody either to a live meeting or to a Zoom meeting, or create your own Zoom meeting with them, right? Or your own coffee talk meeting. If you haven't seen Aviva Goreshnik's, raise your hand if you've seen Aviva Goreshnik's coffee talk thing, link on Facebook that I got posted a few days ago. So I invited Denny to this conference call. She listened to Alan Noble. I invited her to go to Salt Lake City with me. So here's another lesson. So in the meantime, I'm like, Alan, send me some product. So Alan sends me a case of ASEA. When the ASEA arrives, my husband, I am not home. My husband opens the ASEA. He smells it. He calls me on the phone. He says, I know you're excited about ASEA, but we're not going to do it. And I'm like, why? He's like, this stuff smells like a swimming pool, and I'm not going to drink it, and nobody that I know is going to drink it, and our friends are not going to like this stuff that smells like swimming pool water. So I come home, I smell the stuff that Alan sent me. I'm like, you're right. We can't do ASEA. This stuff smells like swimming pool water. We've been teaching people for 15 years not to drink chlorinated water, because one of the products that our other company sold was a water filter. And now we're going to take this pool water to people. So I call up Alan and I'm like, Alan, we're not coming to Salt Lake City. We're not interested in ASEA. Nobody that we know is going to drink swimming pool water. So in the meantime, for whatever reason, I drank 2 ounces of ASEA. That's what it said to do on the package. I figure it's not going to kill me. So I'm talking to Alan. 20 minutes into the conversation, I felt something. What did I feel? Well, at that point, I was a pretty healthy 50-something-year-old. And if you had asked me if I had any health issues at that point, I would have said no. But I felt this relaxation go through my whole body, like it was an unmistakable feeling that the tension just drained out of my body, especially my neck and shoulders. And I said to Alan, can this work that fast? And Alan asked me what was happening, and I told him. And so this is the other thing. My previous company, I built by going to people's houses and giving them a product experience. Because also with that product, I had a product experience within 15, 20 minutes of using the product. I'm very sensitive. Not everybody does, But with ASEA, most people, if we do the 3 and 5, we're going to be able to give them some type of experience. And also, you never know who's going to have an experience by drinking ASEA. Like, I know this isn't totally duplicatable, but I have a very nice business in the UK, Denmark, Australia, because early in my ASEA life, I gave somebody a pouch of ASEA. They came to one of my presentations. I said, after the presentation, they said, my daughter has health issues. I said, okay, take this pouch of ASEA. This is not going to help your daughter with her health issues, but if she drinks the whole thing, she's going to know whether she can tolerate the taste or not. And then you can decide if you want to, move forward and get her some ASEA. So she takes the pouch home. She gives it to her daughter. She calls me the next day. She says, you said that my daughter wouldn't feel anything like with this, but she did. She has this issue where she has to use an inhaler for her lungs. And she drank this pouch of ASEA and her breathing issues cleared up. And because of that one pouch of ASEA, that lady led me to contacts that have, really, some of them have built big businesses, some of them have built small businesses. So here's the moral of the story. Like, this is the way I built my first business. I went to people's homes. I met them in coffee shops. I met them at meetings, and I did my best to give them a product experience. Did everybody have a product experience? No. But the people who do, guess what? A lot of times they get excited, just like I did, just like many of you did, just like Shauna did, just like Mark Mullaney did, just like Clay did, like Jeanette did. We had a product experience. We got excited about the product. We started going to meetings and going to, different things, learning about ASEA, and we got excited about the business, right? So who says you have to lead with the business to be a business builder?
Thank you.
Have a great ASEA day, everybody.